Welcome aboard the Ear to There podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich. I'm also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, a Disney-specialized travel agency. I'm here to take away all that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes for you to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And guess what? I work absolutely free. So from your hotel reservations, dining reservations, fast passes, setting up Disney's Magical Express, rental cars, special event tickets, you name it, I do all of that at no extra cost to you. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. And also look for me every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time over at facebook.com/eartotherphil. That's what I'm going to do a live Facebook show from each and every week. And again, that's Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Time. I'll do a lot of this. I'll do a lot of talking. You can write back and answer in the comments so we can talk, chat, ask questions, all kinds of stuff. So meet me there on Thursday. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is episode number 81 for the week of July 31st, 2017. Now that all that business is out of the way, grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. So two of my most popular and most commented on shows so far have been the Resort Roundup shows for Port Orleans and for Disney's Polynesian resorts. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on those. A lot of you seem to really enjoy them. So we figured, why not? Let's do another one. And the one we decided to do this time out is one that's been under construction for quite a while. But I'm happy to say that construction is almost finished. Business is almost back to normal there. So this week we wanted to do a resort roundup on maybe my favorite resort on all of Disney property, Disney's Wilderness Lodge. My guest today is not really a fan of the wilderness. Forest and fauna, not his jam. His wife once convinced him to go on a night hike with her and the kids at a local park. He jumped at every little sound, sure an animal was about to attack the tour group. Thankfully, the mystery sounds were just those of his own footsteps, and they all made it home safely. Now he restricts his wilderness experience to those at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, which I'm sure you'll totally hear in this episode is his jam. He loves that place. Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve, welcome to the show.
That is not true. That's false. Those are real noises I was hearing. It wasn't my footsteps and all that kind of stuff. Look, man, let me tell you real quick what happened. So we're on this night hike with the kids, and we're sitting on this like next to a ravine that was behind this neighborhood. And then, we're trying to watch for night eyes and see like raccoons and whatever else is cruising through at nighttime.
Who knows where you live? Could be anything.
I know. Well, I know, man. All kinds of crazy stuff. So and then all of a sudden we're behind this neighborhood, and all of a sudden I see the lights come on this house, and this guy walks out to the porch, and all I see is the silhouette of the guy. Like, I didn't know what he was holding. Like, he could have had like a long barrel rifle and just decide, I hear a bunch of disturbance. I haven't picked a deer in a little while. Let me see what I can get here, and start firing at us. It freaked me out. So I was like, I was shooting my flashlight back at him, like trying to Morse code. I was a little rusty. I was trying to say, please don't shoot. Like, yeah, man, that was a mess. That was a good idea on paper.
Did he understand the Morse code? I have to know. Or was it just did it just confuse him more, and then you heard the gunshots over your shoulder as you were walking away?
Yeah, it's probably he probably, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've done Morse code, so it's probably something like I love Popeye's fried chicken or something. What it came out as.
Popeye's is delicious, man. You can't say no to Popeye's chicken. All right.
Love that chicken from Popeye's.
How's that song go? Is that what Love That Chicken? That's not how it goes, is it?
I think it's the old. I don't know.
It's like Louisiana Fresh now.
Oh yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of TV anymore.
Now it's like a down home Louisiana kind of thing. It didn't used to be. When I was a kid, it was Popeye's chicken and biscuits. Now it's it's down home country something like Louisiana. I don't know. I don't know when it became a Louisiana restaurant, but apparently it is.
Sounds a little saucy. Well, it always was a Louisiana restaurant, wasn't it? But now they're trying to really bank on it.
Yeah, I guess they're just going for the whatever. All right, sorry, already off on a.
There it is.
Speaking of
there it is.
Speaking of tangents, you mentioned the word silhouette. And I just found this out tonight, and I need to share it with you and with the listener. Somebody posted on Facebook, and this works. If you have an iPhone, which so many of us do these days, pick up the iPhone and get on the Siri or just say, "Hey Siri." And when you talk to Siri, say the line from Bohemian Rhapsody, "I see a little silhouette of a man," and see what happens. It is fantastic. So I'm just saying, say that line to Siri and see what happens.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Darn it. Oh. It didn't work.
All right, now we go.
Is this like a big, this is just to make fun of people?
No, it is.
I see a little silhouette of a man.
Scaramouche. Will you do the Fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning. Very, very frightening me. Galileo. Galileo Figaro Magnifico. I'm just a poor assistant. Nobody loves me. It's just a poor assistant from a poor family, spared its life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go. Will you let me go? Bismillah. No, we will not let you go. Let it go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let it go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let me go. Will not let you go. Let me go. Never, never let you go. Never let me go. Oh, no, 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 no.
Come on, that is excellent.
We're just another brick in the wall.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, Siri knows Queen, like that crazy nonsense from Queen. Like that's a hard lyric, and then she can't do Pink Floyd. Come on, Apple. That's weak sauce. Oh man, she's already talking smack. My name is Siri. Yeah, you stink.
The greatest beginning to an episode of the show ever. So far, it's been fantastic.
Not bad.
Been Popeye's chicken, Siri singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and you getting somebody taking pot shots at you in the woods when you have your kids on your shoulder running through the woods. This is a great start. Speaking of the woods, see that segue? How was that? That was pretty good.
Man, that's a pro move right there.
We are actually on this episode to do our resort roundup of your favorite, well, not your favorite, I know one of our favorite resorts, Disney's Wilderness Lodge. So it's Disney's Wilderness Lodge. They didn't change the official name, right? It's not like when they changed the Polynesian to Polynesian Villas Resort with bungalows and a pool or whatever they call it. I think it's still...
Captain Cook's. Yeah, I think so. So when they renamed the Polynesian, they tried to kind of incorporate the DVC property into the name, the overall name. But it looks like from all the stuff the marketing materials I've seen from DVC at Wilderness Lodge, they just kind of bifurcated it out. How about that for a word?
Nice.
Bifurcate.
I got to look that up. I don't even know what that means.
Please do. I don't know if I used it correctly or not. That's a big word.
All right,
but they're keeping it all like.
I'm looking it up.
I think it's all kept as Copper Creek Villas and Cabins, if I recall.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Oh man, how about that? Like,
dude.
I don't do homework before we do these calls. Like I keep telling myself I should do some homework, and I actually pulled that one correctly.
And you pulled bifurcated out correctly.
Oh boy, I got to keep this head of steam going here.
It's divide into two branches or forks. Well done.
Oh man, that's some good pod.
All right, this
there.
is where we go out. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Like George Costanza, you got to leave on a high note. Get out while you can. So still has the same name. So, yeah, now we have the Copper Creek Villas and, what you said. I always get the names. So what I thought we could do is what we usually have done with these Resort Roundup episodes is we kind of just go back and forth on things, reasons really why Wilderness Lodge should be on your list, on your short list of places to stay on your next trip to Walt Disney World. Listen, I've gotten, these are the episodes, this is why we're doing another one, that I've gotten the most feedback on. I had somebody, and he knows who he is, so I won't say his name, he told me he listened to our episode about the Polynesian, which was, off the top of my head, I don't remember the number, I'll have to
it was like
look it up.
347,
something like that. He told me he listened to that episode. It wasn't a short one either. It was like an hour plus.
Did we do like in 2 pieces?
Was that one? Yeah, maybe that was one that we split up. But he listened to it 8 times.
Whoa!
So that
was he like? Did he like it, or was he like trying to find all the stupid things I said?
No, not at all. He loved it, and he said he thought it was the best episode we had done. So there you go, man.
Wow, how about that? That's quite a compliment.
Yeah, I listen. If anybody's going to listen to my voice for one entire episode, I'm amazed. So to listen to the same thing over and over again that's a heck of a compliment for us.
I feel like some pressure now. Like if these people actually like this format of running down the resorts, man, we got to nail this one.
You got to bring it. You got to bring the A game.
Well, we already started on a high note, so we just got to keep it going.
Let's just get Siri to say the whole rest of the episode.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what other good classic rock song Siri knows.
I heard that tonight. I was dying. I thought it was hilarious.
That's funny.
It really is. Anyway, all right, man. So I know you love the resort. I love the resort. It's been under construction for what seems like a decade. I know. I mean, I was getting tired of walking in there and seeing the tarps up and the fences and everything under construction and the restaurants closed, and so I'm excited that everything is finally starting to open back up, and it's going to be, it is already a phenomenal resort, but going forward it's just better and better. So you're the guest, or the second co-host, as I like to say, not the second co-host, just the co-host. Second co-host, that's redundant, right? You're the co-host. Yeah. So why don't you go?
It's like a double negative.
It is, yeah. You ain't no guest. So go ahead with your first one.
Yeah, and let me say, honestly, I do feel the pressure on this one because this is one of my favorite resorts at Walt Disney World, clearly. And I feel this pressure because there's so much I like about this resort hotel that I want to make sure I do it justice. And I got to say right off the bat, if I forget something or I didn't put it on the list, I hope the listeners don't go, gosh, this guy's such a moron. He totally didn't mention this thing. And that's not what I'm trying to, I'm not dissing it, or I'm not trying to say it's not cool if it's not on my list. It's just, there's so much I like about it. I'm trying to see if I can kind of hit the high points that I think will be good for the conversation here. So the first thing that I did is kind of an abstract concept in terms of the first thing on my list. It's the fact that it's a serene environment. And that's a funny thing to start off with, because kind of like what you just said earlier, Phil, is that, for a while it's been a lot of construction going on there. And literally, we're recording late July right now, and it's not even a week since they basically opened everything up, and now it's ready for business on all aspects of the resort hotel. From what I could tell, I just was over there a couple of days ago walking around, and it looked like it was all done. Everything, all the construction walls were gone. So here's the thing. Of all of the deluxe resort hotels at Walt Disney World, I think this one seems like it's the most peaceful and quiet. And the reason why I think I want to highlight the first thing as the first thing on my list is that I think that's exactly what you need after you've had a day of traipsing around the theme parks. Because that way it kind of gives you that feeling. It's like you're on vacation, or whatever you think of as quote unquote vacation. So it's a nice way to kind of offset all of the hectic energy from the crowds and all the loud noises and sensory like experiences that you have in the theme parks, which no disrespect, I love them. But it is nice when you're on vacation to kind of back away from that a little bit and just have some quiet time. I think part of that probably is kind of like where it's situated. So, it's set kind of like in the woods right on Bay Lake, which is much less busy than its neighbor, Seven Seas Lagoon. I love the Polynesian. I love the Grand Floridian, but the section that it sits on in Bay Lake is really quiet and has way less of the traffic from the watercraft, like the boats, than you would see on Seven Seas Lagoon from like the Polynesian to Grand Floridian. So you're not seeing like the ferry boats jamming back and forth and a whole bunch of shuttle boats and things like that. So it feels like you're in like a quiet lakeside kind of resort, which is really cool. And the other thing that I think is kind of neat for that whole serene concept, I feel bad about saying this because this is like one of the secrets that me and like a couple of my friends know about that we really take advantage of often is there's this really cool walking path that connects the Wilderness Lodge to Fort Wilderness, and you rarely bump into anyone else on that path. It's just like deep woods, nice little just path that winds through the woods. And the cool thing about it is you can be like in that deep woods, quiet, serene, peaceful environment, and there's no bugs back there. Like they do all of the bug treatments that they do around the theme parks and the main parts of the resort back in there too. So you're not getting killed by the mosquitoes and all that other kind of stuff. And they also do like their wildlife management. So there's no big critters back there. So you're not gonna, like if you were to go like in the woods somewhere else, you're worried about like bears and elk and Sasquatches and all kinds of stuff like that. Or they call them swamp apes down here, not Sasquatches.
They do.
Yeah. So if you're going squatching, you can go for a swamp. Yeah. There's no Sasquatches in the woods here. I think they manage the population and get them off site. And the other cool thing about that whole concept of being like a serene environment is there's so many great spots to just sit down and relax, like indoors and outdoors around the property at Wilderness Lodge. And it doesn't make you feel like you're at a hotel. I mean, I don't know how to describe the vibe and the energy that they've created. But, if you told me you wanted to, what's the best hotel at Walt Disney World? If you just wanted to just sit down, relax, maybe do a little reading, you're probably a book reader. I'm a magazine reader. I don't know why, but I'd say like it'd be the Wilderness Lodge. So if I wanted to sit down and read like a copy of Auto Trader or Mad Magazine or Cracked, that's where I would go. I'd go to Wilderness Lodge and just kick back a little bit. See what Alfred E. Newman's up to these days.
And Spy versus Spy,
Yeah, man, it's good quality literature. It's highbrow. And they have like these, like indoors, like I know these aren't like secrets that I'm telling, but you can see these places like, in the lobby, a couple floors up, there's a few little spots that they have kind of like little alcoves that have, some of them have some fireplaces and some nice little leather chairs. Yep. That's just such a cool place to hang out and relax. And, again, you're like in a lobby of a hotel, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're like in a lodge, and it's, it's not loud, even though this is Walt Disney World. There's families and children and all kinds of, buzz going around. It doesn't feel that way to me when I'm there. I don't know how they've done it, but, combination of just the beautiful architecture, the smells in there, like, they kind of has like a neat, like woodsy smell in there. So, I can't say enough good things about it in terms of that serene environment and how they've done it. That's just, to me, that was the number one thing that stood out to me when I was writing my list out. It had to be mentioned, just that it's such a serene, peaceful environment.
Dude, as you were saying, talking about the boats coming in, I could almost hear it, right? Like standing out in that dock, it's quiet. You're literally, across the lake from Fort Wilderness and the campgrounds, and you're, I don't know, a 3-minute bus ride from Magic Kingdom.
I know, it's so nice.
It's crazy. And the boat, I love the boat to Magic Kingdom from there as well. But when you're out on that dock and you hear the boat coming up, it's like this kind of like that low hum of the motor from the boat coming up. And it is so quiet. It's amazing. You put that, like I got that image in my head and I just could hear it almost. I agree with you completely, man. It's one of those places where you just really feel like you're away from it all. It doesn't feel like you're in Walt Disney World even a little bit.
Even though you're literally like right in, the shadows of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
With all that clearing that they did for the cabins, they took out some trees on the one side of the building, the main building. So a lot of those rooms have really good fireworks views now. That's how close you are, but It doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't. And I love one of the things I like is getting up early in the morning and going to get a cup of coffee and walking through that lobby when there's not a lot of people there, or people haven't even started their day yet, and it's just I can't, like you were saying, you can't put it into words. I can't really explain exactly why that's such a cool feeling, but it just is. It's like you said, it's quiet. You hear the waterfall going through the lobby. I don't know I can't explain it. I can't, but it's quiet. It's peaceful. Everywhere at the resort, it seems like it's peaceful. And like you said, it's not. There are kids everywhere. There are families everywhere getting on the buses, getting off, running through the lobby. There's kids just like there are anywhere else in Walt Disney World, but it just feels different here. It's a different feel. Yeah, man. So I totally agree with that first pick. I really like that one.
Right on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of use yours to kind of segue into my first one because it actually set me up pretty perfectly. So my first reason why I love the Wilderness Lodge is the background music and the ambient noise at the resort. So, like you said, yours was a weird first pick. I think this is kind of a weird first pick, but I think I have to say it first because it's one of the things that you notice first when you get to that resort. Like, there's something about walking through the lobby and hearing that, almost like that Wild West, like musical, the Wild West music playing. But they have songs from the Magnificent, the Magnificent Seven song. It goes dun 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 dun. You know that one?
I confused that one with didn't they use that like on the Beef What's for Dinner commercial?
You're probably right. I don't know.
Maybe I think they use one of those songs. But yeah, I know the Magnificent Seven song you're talking about. Yeah. I listen to that on YouTube sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good tune. And then they have songs from Wyatt Earp, from Last of the Mohicans, from Dances with Wolves. Like, you just feel like you're in, like, I don't know. And the setting doesn't really make sense because you're supposed to be in like the Pacific or the Northwest, but it's like this Wild West music. But I guess it kind of fits because it's like the Wilderness Lodge. But the music is great. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And then there's the other noises that go with staying in that resort, right? So, like the geyser, when you walk out, there's the geyser outside. The noise of that you can hear from all around the resort. The stream that's running through the lobby, like I mentioned, with the little waterfall that runs through the lobby out into the couple other waterfalls and the rocks and looks like it goes right into the pool. It doesn't, of course, because that wouldn't be very sanitary. But it looks like it does. It looks like it's a really cool trick to make it look like that stream is dumping right into the pool. And, and then just the sound of Whispering Canyon at night with the, like I said, with the waterfalls and everything, and then the music outside. And get this, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but the noises from the crickets and the other bugs and the wildlife that, like when you're walking back from the boat dock or when you're walking around like the outskirts of the resorts at night, you'll hear crickets and you'll hear, other animals. They're piped in little hidden speakers. Like, I'm sure there are cricket noises even when those speakers aren't on, but to make sure you really feel like you're in, out in the wilderness, they actually have hidden speakers that pipe in those noises, which, I mean, you really, really are kind of escaping to some, far off lodge in the Pacific Northwest. It's awesome. They do such a great job with the music and the speakers and hiding the sounds, and I love that aspect of that place.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that, and I never really paid attention to it in terms of just how pronounced the sounds were there in the evening hours when they had like the crickets going. And then I was there, I don't know, a month or two ago. It was in the evening, and I was walking around, and I heard the crickets and everything. I was like, oh man, it's amazing that they decided to really pay that much attention to all the details and to give you that experience without, I don't know, maybe they decided it's cheaper to just import a whole bunch of crickets right here and not wire the whole sound system up. But no, I'm sure it is sound. But it's so cool how they did that. And for, somebody like me who's not exactly the nature boy.
Me neither, man.
Yeah, it's nice to know that there's a technological barrier between me and real nature.
Wilderness Lodge is as close as I ever get to camping in my entire life. That's pretty much it. And I have to have a DVC
Which, by the way,
with a full kitchen and a bedroom and all that.
Do you remember the thing that was hot 5 or 6 years ago, glamping?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. It was a thing it was people who had these fancy pants tents that were set up at campsites that were from the outside looking in, they just look like really nice teepees and tents. And you walk in, it's super nice amenities and running water and turlets. It's all kinds of stuff, fancy stuff.
So it's glamorous camping.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still a thing anymore. If it totally went by the wayside.
I don't know. I don't know enough about the outdoors. I don't even cut my own grass, man.
What, you just have a goat? Just graze in your yard?
Yeah.
You toss a couple tin cans to it every now and then?
Yeah, we got a few of them out there, We have the roof, the grass on the roof, the houses at the Norway Pavilion at Epcot. They're up there eating the grass up there, too.
You don't want a drone to come by and see your house. You put the grass up there. Make it blend in.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we're like hobbits. No, I don't.
You make the kids... You had the 4-year-old twins out there with the lawnmowers.
The weed whacker. Jack, put your goggles on this time.
No, put that mask on. Your asthma's going to kick up again. I don't want to buy any more of that Claritin for you. Stuff's expensive, and it's not over the counter anymore.
All right, man. After the story of me torturing my children. No, man, we have a lawn guy. They do the lawn for us. I actually have this. It's. Let's not get into my ailments. I have a lot of them.
I did that when I was 15, 14, 15, 16. I was saving up cash. I used to just, somewhere. Yeah, man. I was cutting grass. I was the neighborhood grass cutter.
Did you have one of those old push mowers that has the wheel that spins around and cuts the grass?
Yeah, but it was I was always in 3-wheel motion, like a gangster rap video, because one always would be up in the air, wouldn't get all the way flush to the ground. So it was a weird setup, and I just beat that thing so hard. And yeah, that's how you know you were hardcore. You had a 3-wheel motion lawnmower.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get back to the.
What are we talking about? Wilderness Lodge?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. We're all on a crazy tangent. All right, man, you're up.
Write it down on a Post-it note.
I always keep my notes on my computer in front of me because I don't have them. I have no idea what we're talking about. I have to try to figure out how to get back to it.
Oh, boy.
All right, so where was I? Okay, yeah, so I talked about the music. Now you're up.
Okay, I have a feeling that this is probably going to be on your list, and I'm sorry in advance. And so we can tag team it if it is on your list. I have no problems with that. The second thing that came to mind immediately was Christmas at the Wilderness Lodge.
Not on my list. Nope.
Really?
No, and I love that. I love that. And I didn't even, to be honest with you, I was thinking of everyday stuff, so it didn't even enter my mind.
Wow, that's so cool.
And now I wish I did, because now
well, you can chime in. And
yeah, I will. If it strikes my fancy, I will. Go ahead.
Strikes your fancy. Yeah, so Christmas at the Wilderness Lodge, in my opinion, I think it's the most impressive environment that's created. Now, I say it Grand Floridian has this insane gingerbread house set up every Christmas, where the gingerbread house is 2 stories tall, 3 stories. It's massive. It's got a turlet in it. I mean, it's huge. It's a glamping gingerbread house.
Dude,
so
nobody does this kind of stuff on their podcast. Bring it full circle right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a couple pros right here. That's how we do it.
That's right.
So they have this insanely huge Christmas tree that they put right smack dab in the middle of the lobby at the Wilderness Lodge. Don't quote me on this. I think it's like, 40, 50 stories tall. I don't know. I'm not good at math. I think it's probably like, 5 stories tall. It's huge. It's amazingly beautiful when you walk in through the doors to the main lobby and you see that massive Christmas tree. And they have a nice little setup there where you can take a photo pass picture with your family. And they have so many other just really you could go crazy with Christmas, in my opinion. Like there's some hotels, not so much in the Disney hotels, some of the other ones around here in town, go a little overboard with the stuff they do at Christmas. I love Christmas. I'm not exaggerating. This is 100% the truth. I listen to Christmas music every day of the year. I'm not exaggerating. I feel like it's, and I noticed, here's how I kind of got to doing it. I started noticing, like when I was driving on the road, not with the kids, if it's just myself in the car, not with my family, I'd be listening to, certain kinds of music that would kind of like get me pumped up. And, like the Oak Ridge Boys or little Yanni live at the Acropolis.
Some Richard Marx.
Oh man, ain't nobody like Richard Marx and little Kenny G. Kenny G's coming to. Is he coming to Food and Wine this year?
Yes. No, it's. I think it's Food and Wine. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, or is he doing Christmas?
No, it's Food and Wine. I remember reading that off. Yeah, a few weeks ago. Yeah.
So, well, anyway, but I would listen to this crazy music, and then I was like, oh man, I'm driving faster than I should be. I'm a little more aggressive than I should. I said, let me do the antithesis. Let me put Christmas music on. And it's literally, I'm the friendliest guy in the street, on the road, like listening to Christmas music all the time. So anyway, in terms of the decorations, it's so well themed, the way they do it there to the Wilderness Lodge. So a lot of, the garlands and the wreaths and the tree decorations and everything else that they put around the property is really well themed to the Wilderness Lodge kind of vibe. They also do a really nice job in terms of kind of just peppering Christmas decor around through the lodge without getting like in your face and being like over the top like Clark Griswold. But they also put some, special background music on that goes around the property, like kind of like what you mentioned in terms of, your first pick. So, but it's like, it's not just, Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's, Christmas music that is appropriate for that environment. So like, Wyatt Earp kind of Christmas music. If Wyatt Earp, if they had a Wyatt Earp Saves Christmas, like Ernest Saves Christmas.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the Wyatt Earp Christmas special.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Vern? I messed
Did you pull a Vern out there? That was awesome.
No, I botched it. It's you know what I mean, Vern.
Oh, that doesn't matter. Nobody remembers.
Stupid. So anyway, if I could land a joke right, it'd be good. So anyway, it's one of those places where I'm always checking and seeing like when is the tree up, when are the decorations up, because I think they tend to go like Magic Kingdom gets like all hands on deck first, and like everything is going there first, and then the resort hotels are kind of trickling afterwards. I cannot wait for when they put everything up at the Wilderness Lodge for Christmas, and just to walk around and hang out and sit and relax. They oftentimes will have, like last year they definitely did it. I'm not sure about years before. They had these little like special like pop-up stores like in the middle of the lobby with like special holiday treats and little holiday gifts. So it's even better to sit there and just kind of hang out and relax at the Wilderness Lodge during Christmas just because of all the decorations and the music and things like that. So if you are planning to do a Christmas vacation, not like Clark Griswold style, but like a real one, pull up your camper up to your Cousin Eddie kind of camper, and then like offload the sewage
right into the sewer.
Get right into the sewer, flick your cigarette, and light it on fire. If you ask me which hotel to stay at Walt Disney World Christmas time, I'd say I wouldn't even hesitate. You wouldn't even be able to get the period on the end of that sentence before I'd say Wilderness Lodge. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, dude. I agree. We're in to make a word up that isn't really a word here. We're in agreement. That is, I love that place at Christmas.
Look at us, man. We're like spitting out some highfalutin words here.
Yeah, agreement. I don't think that's a real word. I think the real word is agreement, but we do agree. I love the tree. I love the garland on the railings. Like you said, the music, the fireplace by itself isn't. I hope that wasn't on your list, and I'm not giving it up. But the fireplace by itself is like an 80-foot tall fireplace in the lobby. For some reason, I don't know if they do anything for it for Christmas, but it with the tree there kind of in the background and the fireplace by itself at Christmas seems kind of like a special little touch. Everything about it at Christmas, I agree, is awesome. And I think it's the most impressive tree on property. Like I know, like you were saying, like Grand Floridian has, how tall did you say the gingerbread house was? 6 stories?
That's like 1,000 feet. I don't know.
It's something like that.
I'm not good with math.
We're not architects. We can't be expected to know that off the top of our heads.
Yeah, I'm not an actuary. Like, I don't know.
But they have a pretty impressive tree there. I'm thinking but then you go to like contemporary. I expect this big tree in the lobby, but their lobby is 1 story high, so they don't really have much of a Christmas. I mean, they have decorations, but you have to wait till you get to the Grand Canyon Concourse to really kind of get wowed by the Christmas stuff. Wilderness Lodge, when you walk in, it's you can't miss it. It's directly right in front of your eyes. This huge tree. I can't tell you how many pictures online are just from different angles all over the place of the tree itself. Such a cool thing. Yeah, the pop-up shops in there are very cool. I remember seeing them last year. I didn't stay there for... I've stayed there for Marathon Weekend a bunch right after Christmas. So when you get there, lots of times they'll still have the decorations up. Last year we stayed... It doesn't matter. I didn't get to run. But I think we stayed at Boardwalk last year, I want to say, or maybe Contemporary. I don't know. We take a lot of trips. But yeah, that's a really good pick. I love that place. I love Disney at Christmas, but the Wilderness Lodge at Christmas is really awesome. I gotta
interrupt you because this is breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. You heard it here first. When you said the word agreeance, I had to go look it up, see if it's a real word. So I did what I do anytime I don't know a word. I went to urbandictionary.com and it's there. It's a word.
It's an Urban Dictionary word. Does that mean it's a real word?
It's what I use. It's okay. So I've cited it before in official documentation. So it says agreeance.
Bibliography.
My bibliography. So here's how they define it. Agreeance. What stupid people say instead of agreement. I am in agreement that Kmart is not pronounced Kmark. And then it further goes to say, agreeance. Fred Durst is an idiot. I'm in agreement that he's an idiot. Do you know who Fred Durst is?
Oh, of course, man. Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, buddy. I don't know what happened.
I would start singing some bars of one of their famous songs, but it's got to keep this thing G-rated.
Yeah, I've heard he's kind of a jerk in real life.
That wouldn't surprise me, really.
Yeah,
he's not one of those guys that I would see on TV back in the '90s and be like, "Man, if I could have dinner with one person, who would it be?" Fred Durst.
Yeah, I know someone who had some dealings with him and didn't go so well.
It doesn't seem like it. I always get him mixed up with the lead singer from Smash Mouth, which I shouldn't because that guy seems like a nice guy. Fred Durst is not.
Smash Mouth. Are they at Food and Wine this year? Bringing it back?
They've been in the past. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember the list. I don't remember seeing them on the list this year.
Ask good, I spare some change for gas. That's a good song. Come on, that's a good Smash Mouth. That was an awesome song. I'm like, what was that, like 99, 2000, something like that?
Here's a quick one about 90s music, musical singers from obscure bands. So a buddy of mine's a cast member. And one of the things he does, or at least in a former role, would be he kind of just be very playful with the guests. And if he saw someone that resembled a celebrity, he'd call him out, and everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of he does look like whoever." And he goes, "Hey everybody, there's John Popper." And then he looks at him, and the guy gives him like a wave and a nod, like, "I actually am John Popper." And then he looked at him like, "Oh my goodness, that is John Popper."
Oh no.
Which, that's not one, like if somebody said, hey, anyone ever told you you look like John Candy? Like that's not like a super flattering one, or Tom Arnold, Jack Black.
If it wasn't, so the thing is, if it wasn't John Popper, he ran the risk of like offending the guy.
I know.
So he ran. So then he just kind of outed John Popper, which wasn't good for the guy who was probably trying to get by without people recognizing who he was.
But I don't know I can't imagine if you're John Popper, you'd want people to know. I mean, I would, if I was John, because, this was not that long ago. So he'd been out of the public eye for a little while. If I saw it, I'd be like, oh, hey, man, you got your mouth harp on you?
Yeah, so for people who may not know who John Popper is, he was the lead singer and, as Johnny said, the mouth harp player for, no, I can't remember the name of the band, Blues Traveler.
Blues Traveler, yeah.
Blues Traveler, yeah. From the
See, the funny thing about is mouth harp offensive?
I don't know, but
I hope it's not. I hope it's not offensive.
All right, let's get away from this.
Yeah. What are we talking about? What is this episode about again?
All right, so I'm going on to my next one. Okay, so this one is something that's kind of been lost over the years, but it's one that I think is really cool, and I wanted to mention it. So everything in Walt Disney World has a story, right? So, there used to be a big, like, backstory about Pleasure Island and the Adventurers Club, and there's backstories about, we've done we've talked a little bit about the one in Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter. This one, the Wilderness Lodge actually has one of the most like compelling and like richest backstories of any resort I've ever heard. And this kind of thing you can't find it anymore, because I don't know if Disney writes these stories to kind of get the mood and get the story and get in the story, get the feel right at these resorts. So they want a story to kind of make everything make sense. So this actually used to be told, the backstory of the resort, through issues of a newspaper they used to give out when you checked in, called the Silver Creek Star was the name of it. So you would check in and they would give you your little arrival packet, and inside would be this newspaper, and it was a couple pages long, and it had all kinds of articles in it about, and it would change from time to time, and it was basically would tell you all like the goings on at the resort, and like what was happening and all that, and the schedule and the times for the restaurants and all, but weaved? No, that's all right. Woven? I think it's woven.
Let me check Urban Dictionary. Hold on.
So either weaved or woven throughout the newspaper was the story of this resort, right? So you would talk about I'm trying to remember his name, the guy who discovered the area where Wilderness Lodge was built in the early 1800s. His name was get ready for this one. You don't have to Google this one. I got it right in front of me. Colonel Ezekiel Moreland found the area called Silver Creek Springs in the early 1800s. So eventually he settled there. He lived off the land. I'm going to abbreviate this a lot, so you can Google this and find a little more info on it. But he apparently settled in the land where Wilderness Lodge would eventually be built, got super rich by living off the land and apparently hunting and selling beaver pelts. Believe it or not, that's how he made his fortune. And he decided he was going to build his lodge there where he loved where the spring came through. So that spring, the Silver Creek Springs, is what goes through the lobby and goes down into the pool. So he loved that area so much that he built his lodge, the Wilderness Lodge, there. And over the years, as more and more people, more and more settlers and explorers came to the area, they added on more rooms, and it made the lodge as big as it is today. So that's just a kind of like a little piece of it. And then there's a whole story about the geyser was found. I think it's called, what is it called? Fire Rock Geyser, I believe. Where an artist was up on a hill by the main building of the lodge painting, and then the geyser went off and knocked him off his spot. and they wanted people to be able to sit at that point where he could see the geyser go off. So where that artist was knocked off his spot, they built Artist Point Restaurant, so other artists could go and sit and watch the geyser, explode. And there's all kinds of stories. There's all kinds of little kind of stories that go into basically every building and everything on that property. And I'm hoping, and I haven't read this, but I'm hoping with the new Copper Creek and the new the restaurant and all that they've kind of incorporated that story. I don't know if they have, but I love that kind of stuff exists. I love that Imagineers would build that into basically just a hotel or resort. So, yeah, that was my next pick. What do you think?
I tell you what, man, I really sincerely hope that somebody from Disney or people from Disney listen to this podcast, because we throw out some gold here. Like, I think they need to have Colonel Ezekiel Moreland walk the property.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Like they have like the mayor walk Main Street in the Magic Kingdom. Have him look like a character out of Blazing Saddles. Yeah. little rough and tumble.
Yeah, walking around with like one of those old-timey prospector tins trying to find gold somewhere. A couple beaver pelts on his back.
Yeah, and like try to sell them to the guests, like like trading.
Yeah, either beaver pelts or like fool's gold. Try to sell it. Yeah, no, he could be like a Jawa where you could have to trade him for something. Like you can like give him like your expired park ticket and try to get a beaver pelt off of him.
That's brilliant. What? All right, Disney, get on it. Get on it, Disney.
Dude, we should be in character development for Disney. We would come up with some great stuff.
Can you imagine how quickly Disney would go downhill if we were in charge of that? That meeting would never get completed.
Mostly because it would be me as Ezekiel, and I'd be out there with my limping around with my one eye closed and my spectacles.
You probably would that would be the one role that you would encourage the cast member to get rip-roaring drunk before he went on stage.
Yeah. There would be me with my craft beers backstage, and then I come out with
some homemade hooch.
The moonshine.
Some white lightning for Colonel Moreland over here. Getting ready to go on stage.
Colonel
Mustard. Yeah. Wrong
Colonel Mustard in the roaring fork with the pitchfork. I don't know. I was trying to think of an interesting weapon.
Colonel Mustard?
Yeah, Colonel Mustard is some clue. That's what I was trying to do. Remember you had to solve clue at the end? It was Colonel Mustard in the library with the lead
I only saw the movie.
The movie was good. Was it Tim Curry was in the movie? And
yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good movie. All right, man.
Hold up.
All right, so clearly they're not going to be calling us for any ideas anytime soon, but I still think I agree. I think having the walk around character of good old Ezekiel Moreland would be good. But you're up, dude, for your next one.
Yeah. They know where to find us if they do want to call us.
Yeah, hey, my phone number is out there. My cell phone number. Yeah. It's on my website. So you want to call me, go ahead.
There it is. All right. So we're on my third choice now. Third choice I had is, Walt Disney World has an amazing array of things to do. And really, when you think about it, it's mostly the theme parks that come to mind when people are planning the vacations to Walt Disney World. But one of the things I think is cool about the Wilderness Lodge is that there's a lot of things you can do other than going to the theme parks. So, and I've told people that this is a cool idea, say maybe if you have your budget in mind, one thing you might want to say is, if your budget is for a moderate resort, you might want to consider going up to the Wilderness Lodge Deluxe Resort, which is like one of the, like on the lower scale for the standard rooms there. And just say, maybe I'll save like a couple bucks. Don't get a ticket for every day and just instead go there. Because there's a lot of things you can do on site as terms of recreation. And specifically, I wanted to talk about the marina. Because at the marina, you can rent my favorite, the pontoon boats. Just did that the other day for my son's birthday. We just rented a pontoon boat and cruised around Bay Lake and down around Seven Seas Lagoon. That was a ton of fun. And, you pay by like that, by 15 minutes or by the half hour. I can't remember what it is. And, they have the little sea racers. I'm not a fan of those things for some reason. I know people love them, but I don't know. I just want a little more fiberglass around me if I'm going to be out there and, with the gators and stuff. I'm just kidding. There's no gators out there. So there's the pontoon boat's really nice. But over there at the marina too, they have like bicycles you can rent, just regular bikes, or those crazy Surrey bikes that the Surrey bikes aren't as bad because there aren't as many hills like there are over around like Boardwalk. So those are cool over there. And it's not as many people either, so you don't have to worry about mowing anybody down, getting like the cattle catcher on the front of it.
The dads get a little bit of a break at Wilderness Lodge with the Surrey than they do it trying to make those hills at Boardwalk, man.
Oh,
you always see a dad sweating their tails off, pushing that thing from the back, trying to get it up the hill while the kids are sitting in it.
Yeah.
I swear, every time I'm there, I see that. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's a hernia waiting to happen, especially on the heat,
news.
man.
Yeah.
So they got that. There's a couple other things they do. They have a trail adventure. I've never done that one. I'm not sure what that one is. But they also kind of do. They have like the thing with Sammy Duvall where they do the water skiing thing. Grandma Shortsleeve used to water ski. Did I ever tell you about that?
You haven't told me about that one.
She used to go out there in the mornings, like when we go out in the lake in the summertime. She'd try to wake me up because she wanted me to drive the boat. But, I was a teenager at the time. I was like, gosh, I want to sleep. She would go out there anyway. She would go water skiing by herself. She'd just take the boat, hammer it down, throttle wide open, just kind of like inch her way out with the line and just ski. And she had just a little bit of a turn on the wheel, so it would just do a circle. And when she was done, pulled herself back in. Just amazing. She was insane.
I mean, you say was, but you mean is.
Back then, she was a firecracker, man. She's toned it back a little bit now, but that was crazy. So you can do that. No, but if you do the water skiing at Disney, they'll have a person like drive the boat for you. You don't have to like rent the boat and then inch your way out like Grandma did. And then just hope you don't. If you dump it when she never did, she was that good. But if you ever dump it and you're by yourself, man, that boat's just going to do circles all day long until it runs out of gas.
Dragging you behind. Dragging poor Grandma Shortsleeve behind on her one ski.
Yeah. I mean, she was good though. She never dumped it. So you can do that, which is pretty cool. They have the parasailing too over there. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do. And it's quiet over there. Renting a pontoon boat or a sea racer from like the Polynesian Grand Floridian, it's still fun. But just there's a whole lot more boat traffic over on Seven Seas Lagoon than there is over at Bay Lake. So at Bay Lake, it's a little more wide open, and you don't have to worry so much about like yielding to the ferry boat. So you can actually go out there and motor around and have a nice little cruise. So that's one thing that I think is a really neat thing that they have available to the guests at the Wilderness Lodge that not a lot of people talk about. But again, I think it's a really nice way to kind of supplement the time that you're there. You don't have to always be at the theme parks. It's nice to just have a little downtime, enjoying some of those outdoor recreation things that you wouldn't do at home. At least I don't own a boat. I just know people with boats, and that's the way to do it, man. You got to just know people with boats. They're expensive.
Yeah, my people that I know with boats live in Florida. They don't live near me, so I don't get a lot of boat time.
Yeah.
What I used to do when I was a kid was we would go down to a shore point in South Jersey. Not those New Jersey, those New Yorker, North Jersey beach or shore points. We would be down in the South, and we weren't the Jersey Shore people, from the MTV show. But when we were, when I was young and when we were in high school, and then when I was in college, and with my uncles and stuff when I was a kid, we would rent a crabbing boat and go out and go out into the bay and rent the crab traps and do that whole. Oh, man, I love that. That was so much fun for me. And we used to catch a whole bunch of crabs and then bring them home. And my uncles would, cook for dinner that night with. Ah, man, couldn't beat it. That was the best.
Yeah, I tried to do a Jersey Shore Halloween costume one year. My wife shot it down. So I was going to be the situation. I wanted to get some oversized Ray-Ban aviators, like the black framed oversized Ray-Bans, an Ed Hardy shirt, some designer jeans. But then the kicker was under the Ed Hardy shirt, get one of those shirts you get from like the beach that has like the spray paint airbrush of the guy with like the six pack. And you just pull up the Ed Hardy shirt and just point to the six pack shirt.
That's a good idea. See, it wouldn't work now because nobody knows who that guy is anymore. But
they're doing a reunion show.
Are they really?
Yeah. And did I tell you I saw Snooki rolling around Epcot one day?
No.
Yeah. She had her whole crew with her.
I didn't even I only know the names. I literally have never seen one episode of that show. I know the names from it was. I mean, a few years ago it was in the news every day, but I've never seen it.
It's a good show. I actually like it.
You like it for the train wreck that it was, or you actually liked it because you enjoyed the show?
Oh yeah, I didn't like the drama wasn't that great, but there were some funny moments, and like I'll find myself doing something that I probably picked up from the show. Like I'll be at like one of the Disney hotels, and then like one of the yellow cabs come up, and I'll go, "Cabs are here." And nobody gets it anymore, or if they do, they don't want to admit that they get it.
I don't get it. I like the accent. That's all.
Oh yeah. So
I'm sorry, man. I don't know.
I think it's on like Hulu or Netflix or something now. Go watch that.
I've got Game of Thrones to catch up on. I'm like 3 seasons behind on Game of Thrones.
And that's fictional, man. Like Jersey Shore is real life
real
Game
stuff.
of Thrones. Yeah, it's not made up. That's real.
All right, man. Well, what's funny is I can't segue off that at all, but yeah, but what you kind of went into was what one of mine was. So I'm going to kind of go into it. You mentioned that it's Wilderness Lodge is a deluxe resort, right? But it's a little less. The price point is lower, and that was one of mine was it's kind of an entry level deluxe resort is how I like to think of it. Like you said, it's got the amenities, like the watercraft and all that. It's got the creature comforts of the deluxes. It's got 2 table service restaurants, 2 counter service restaurants now. Nice bar, a nice pool bar, great pool, but it's still not priced as high as the other deluxe resorts are. And neither is actually, we're not talking about this resort today, but Animal Kingdom Lodge is the same way. Both lodges, neither of them are priced as high, even though they're included in the deluxe resorts. Just for example, and I don't usually talk about kind of the price of things because they change all the time, but so September of 2017 coming up, Atlantic Beach Club in the month of September, like mid-September, weeknight will average about $450. Polynesian and Contemporary will be above $500, really in general. But Wilderness Lodge you can get from around $360 or $370, which is a big, big, big difference if you're staying for 5, 6, 7 nights. So I think it has, like I said, all those things that you want. It has the things we've already mentioned too, like the ambiance, like the music, and the boats and all that stuff. You can get your grandma short sleeve on and get out there and water ski. You can't really, but
I don't know if that's legal anymore.
No, you can't water ski out there. But what I was saying,
if it ever was legal.
No, you used to be able to water ski at the Polynesian actually, back in like the 70s.
And you do that double decker move where they have like
the video. There's a video of that from like the Welcome to Walt Disney World where there's like 12 people on each other's shoulders water skiing.
How loaded do you have to be to come up with that idea to do that?
I don't know.
Like, who was the first person that said, "Hey, this is going to be a good idea"?
This will work great.
Yeah,
I want to be the guy up on top of everybody's shoulders, like the guy like 8 people's stories up. But they also used to have the wave machine at the Polynesian. People used to go swimming in that thing, in that lagoon. So there you go. I don't think that lasted very long. I don't think that was like, I don't know, a couple of weeks after the resort opened, that closed, that thing. Anyway, that's besides the point. Like I was saying, the price point's lower. On average, you're going to pay a lower price, which again, it's like it's an entry level deluxe resort. So that's a really good reason to stay because you get a lot for your money there, I think.
I like that choice a lot. And here's why. And I think it really sums up the fact that this is, you get the best of both worlds. You get the deluxe hotel experience at Walt Disney World, but you also get the value, in terms of price point. And I know somebody who had to even listen to this and go, when you said the price is like $450, well, $500, good golly, Miss Molly.
Some kind of. I usually don't talk about them because they are high.
But here's the thing, though. I think we need to address it, though, because you have to keep in mind, you got to treat Disney prices differently than what you would pay for a room in like I don't know, Branson, Missouri. I mean, no disrespect to Branson, Missouri. Shout out to Branson and all of the riverboat gambling community. But you have to keep in mind that there's a difference in terms of what you're going to pay for that experience there and what you're going to pay at Walt Disney World. It's kind of like saying, a condo in Manhattan or a penthouse in Manhattan and then a penthouse in Tampa, Florida. It's you could have the identical layout, square footage, amenities, and materials and everything, but the Manhattan version is going to be exponentially more expensive because of the location.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
that's
you
a really
have
good
to.
Analogy, actually.
I'm telling you, man, we're bringing it tonight. We're finally getting into the groove. No more this amateur hour, man. This isn't Bush League anymore, man. This is the pros.
That's true.
I mean, heck, you got what's her name? Julianne Andrews. What's her name? I don't know. What's she been in?
Yeah, The Sound of Music, we can say.
Never heard of it. What else was she in?
I'm trying to think of anything that's not the one that I was so excited to have her on about.
Sure she did some good stuff. But yeah, I mean, you had big people on this podcast.
Wasn't she Bedknobs and Broomsticks? No, she wasn't. That was Angela Lansbury. She's British, right? Same thing.
Yeah, it's close enough. They're all the same. But but I think that needs to be, something that people keep in mind. And, I know that there are people who get sticker shocked sometimes, and that's okay. It's okay to get sticker shocked. That's fine. But the good news is that, if this year, your budget that's a little bit cost prohibitive, there are some great value resort options too at Walt Disney World that are amazingly reasonably priced. Considering the fact that you are on Walt Disney property.
And you still get things like the transportation and Magical Express and all that stuff.
Right. It's just, it's pared down in terms of what you get, in terms of the service, in terms of, the room and all this and that, the amenities on property. But hey, you know what? There's something for everybody. And if you're willing to spend a couple extra bucks to get those amenities and get that really, this is G-rated, really kick butt room. Is that G-rated?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, we're good. We're clear. You can always beep it out later. Get keys to the room, and keep that in mind though. So before you get all in a huff, keep that in mind. That's you're paying for the proximity to all that Walt Disney World has to offer.
For some reason, when you were talking about the values, I guess because you mentioned National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation earlier, I was thinking of National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation when. I don't know if you know this movie at all. It's probably the lesser of all of the National Lampoon's vacation movies. But when Chevy Chase goes to the casino, Clark Griswold goes, and it's like the casino at the end of the strip, and they have games like pick a hand. The guy puts his two hands out, and he taps it, and he's not a quarter. He's like, it's so good.
I forgot about that. I did see that movie. That is so funny.
Dumb. It's so dumb, but it's hilarious. All right, man. So that was me. So I believe you're up for number 4 for you, I think.
Yeah. So this one is an interesting one in terms of where I'm going to go with this. And this is going to apply to everybody, even though you might think it won't right off the bat. It's what we mentioned earlier, the Copper Creek villas and cabins. Is that right? Come on, I should write.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Copper Creek villas and cabins. We're gonna pretend that it's right.
Yeah.
So here's why I think this is really important to mention. So if you're not a Disney Vacation Club member, we talked about this in a few episodes ago when we did together, where you don't have to be. You can call someone like your favorite travel agent. I don't know, Phil. Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. I really thought you were going to give a different travel agency. That would have made me laugh hysterically and made me mad at the same time.
Yeah, you call Phil up and he can do a deal with one of the DVC rooms like at Copper Creek with a rack rate. You don't have to be buying for DVC in order to stay at these properties. And I have to say this. I mean, I don't know, how much I want to give away, but just the last couple of weeks, they've been doing so much media stuff over there. And I've been over there and kind of peeking my head in some of that stuff. And they have done such an amazing job with those rooms over there. And they're absolutely beautiful and how they've done everything in terms of the decor and the layout and everything. And of course, they have, there's a big spectrum in terms of the room choices. They have just kind of like what do they call it? Like the studio is like it's a normal like regular room, and then those villas that they have are just unbelievably insane. Like, and then of course like the cabin, and I think it depends. Like I remember looking at the point schedule. I thought like the 3-bedroom villa was right up there, almost at the same point level with the cabins, and they kind of like teetered back and forth depending on the time of year. But two totally different experiences. Like the cabins are amazing in terms of like what it's laid out and how it's laid out, and situated right on the Bay Lake, not on the Bay, on Bay Lake. This would be like a cool thing to do. Like if you're going to do like a little family reunion, like a couple families coming together, a couple friends coming together, and just split the cost of this, because there's so many cool amenities in these little cabins. Like they have that little, like a little soaking pool, like a little hot tub. Yep. It's right there on Bay Lake, and it's all screened in, so you don't have to worry about, not that there's bugs there, but it's just nice to have it screened in just for a little extra privacy. And the way it was done is just beautiful. Like this was a really stunning look at what they can do with their architecture and their design. And I think this would be like the really nice way to go if you are traveling with kids, because you can have the kitchen set up in there. You can cook some breakfast for the kids, so that when you're going out for the day, you're not worried about them getting blood sugar issues and all that kind of stuff, and have snacks back in the room. And it's easy to prepare something quick for the kids when you have those facilities, the kitchens there to do all that stuff. And I think if you were to go and get one of those big villas and split it with another family, it's actually not that bad in terms of like what you would be spending otherwise to get just to get a regular room with the family. So, if you want to be a DVC member, great, go do that. But that'd be a cool thing to do if you're not a DVC member. Just call Phil up and have him lock it down for you.
Yeah, that is the cool thing about now all of the properties, not just this one, that you can get any of those rooms. Literally anyone. Well, I mean, I don't know if you can say, I want, DVC suite number 635 at the Polynesian, but you can get whatever type of room you want, as long as you're willing to pay for it. Obviously, you can get it. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't done enough, and I haven't had many clients ask me yet, but I don't know how they compare, the cabins compare to the bungalows over the Polynesian. I'm assuming the cabins are significantly lower. Do you know that off the top of your head? I didn't look.
So I had the point schedule and I dumped it in the trash. I should have kept it.
Yeah, I'll look it up and I'll put it in my show notes, because I don't know it off the top of my head.
I would be willing to bet that it is more reasonable in terms of points or dollars if you're not a DVC member than it would be one of the bungalows. And I think they're just as nice. It might be a tiny bit smaller, but the totally different decor and experience and layout of the floor plan. And you're on Bay Lake and you're not on Seven Seas Lagoon staring at the fireworks. That's a difference. Right. Although there's the one side of the property where they kind of they bifurcated it. Look, there it is again. Look at that. I'm sorry. I was got to tap myself on the shoulder for that. That was good. So they bifurcated the property so that you have the cabins on one side of, like, I guess it's like divided by the dock and the geyser, and then so there's the side that's kind of butts up against the Fort Wilderness property. Then there's the side that goes up that kind of faces the Contemporary and the Magic Kingdom. I haven't stood on any of those decks to watch the fireworks, so I don't know how good the view is, but I got to imagine you could still see a fair amount of the fireworks, because I've stood on the dock and I stood by the geyser and watched the fireworks before at night, and you can see a lot. Not a lot of trees that are blocking your way anymore over there.
Yeah, and it's the same as when you're outside the main building of the lodge where those rocking chairs are. You can still see a little bit from over there too. So yeah, another reason to... Dude, you know what? That's going to segue perfectly into my next one. So I'm going to just go right into it.
You're welcome. We watch a lot of Moana in the house.
Us too. No, we're on to Descendants 2 now. We've been doing a lot of Descendants 2. I don't know if your daughter's into Descendants at all.
Is that like Disney's version of Harry Potter?
It's maybe. They're the kids in it. They're all like teenagers. They're the kids of the famous Disney villains, and it's about like their trials and tribulations.
Like casting a spell to get rid of acne, and
dude, that might be a part of the show. I'm not even kidding.
Disney, you can take that one if you want. Go ahead.
There are two movies. There was the first Descendants that came out a couple years ago, and then Descendants 2 just came out a couple days ago, and it's like Cruella de Vil's son, Maleficent's daughter, the Evil Queen's daughter. This one, Captain Hook's son is in it. Jafar's son, and it sounds really corny, but it actually has really good music, and my girls love it. The boy not so much. He'll watch it for a couple minutes and he's like, but the girls love it anyway.
I want to see like the Headless Horseman's son. He rides on a pony.
He has like half a head.
Yeah.
He hasn't graduated yet to the whole no
has
head.
Trouble with. He has a wily pony that doesn't like to listen to him.
Now I'm picturing a Headless Horseman's son as like a retainer. Like he doesn't. He's got a head, but he's got a lot of issues with it.
But he's got the headgear retainer.
Yeah,
but
that wraps around.
But only part of the headgear is actually touching like skull material.
All right, dude. We got to move on. We got to get going here. So yeah, we can make Disney character jokes for hours. So what I was trying to get to was the Descendants is good, and we were just at Disneyland last week, and it was for the D23 Expo, and we left. My friend who has the connections out there and in those parks.
Yeah, he got the guy in the mafia.
Yes, there. He got us into Walt Disney's apartment for a private tour, and amazingly, my kids were allowed to go, and they were incredibly well behaved. They didn't touch anything. They listened. They were actually kind of into it until Jack sat on one of Walt's chairs, and I thought our VIP guy was going to have a heart attack. She just heard all the color drain from her face, and I realized you're probably not supposed to sit on the furniture because nobody sat on it for like 35 years. So I kind of ushered him off, and she was okay. But as we left the apartment and came from backstage back on stage, there was a motorcade coming around town square, and there was like 4 or 5 cars. And in the cars were the stars of the Descendants movies. So I quickly grabbed both of my girls and I held them up like, they're big. They're not, they're 4 and 6. So they're not little tiny babies. But I lifted them up as high as I could, like on my shoulders. And they were waving to the girls who play the girls in the Descendants. And they waved back and were like blowing kisses. And it was like my most surreal Disney fan moment ever, being in Walt Disney's apartment, to their most surreal Disney fan moment ever, getting, kisses blown at them by the girls from the Descendants. So it was cool. Anyway, it was a neat moment.
Yeah, I mean, I understand like with kids, but I think it's kind of comical, like the dichotomy. Look at these big words coming out of me. Yeah. The dichotomy there. You got you like at this monumental thing. You're inside of Walt's apartment in Disneyland. That's something that very few people will ever be able to say that they've done. And then you're walking out, and then there's these teeny boppers. Yeah. And meanwhile, the kids are up there like kicking over the lamppost. Like, when can we go ride Small World, Dad?
It's true.
Are we done? Are we done in here?
It's true, yeah.
It smells funny.
Trying to. Oh, dude! It no, I'm not going to even say it. The weird part was, and I said this on a podcast, my Word of the Week podcast was. We got the bathroom tour, and I was like, "This is," and our VIP tour guy was like, this was Walt's bathroom and Lillian's bathroom, and nothing has changed, and it's the original plumbing and the original toilet and shower, and I was like, "That's weird. Like, it's almost like an invasion of privacy to be in their bathroom." And then I realized why she showed it to us was because. This was 1954 that Walt had this bathroom installed, and there were multiple shower heads. There were 4 shower heads in his little stand-up shower. And she explained, like, listen, that wasn't really done in the 50s. Like, he was kind of way ahead of his time. So like now they have multiple shower heads in the resorts in Walt Disney World, but back then that was kind of unheard of. So I get why she showed us, but I was still for a minute. I was like, this is a little weird being in here. We actually walked into the bathroom.
He was a big European traveler. Did he have a toilet and a bidet?
He did not. It was, dude. His bathroom is like it was a closet. Like it's
not a lot of real estate up there.
500 square feet. It's tiny. Wow. But there was some really, really neat stuff. And yeah, if you haven't listened to it, not you, Johnny, but the listeners who listen every week, go back. It's the word of the week. I think I said, what the heck did I call that? Yesteryear was the Walt Disney one. Okay. So it was a really cool experience. And I've heard from a bunch of people, I got emails all week, like, you could hear the emotion in your voice. And I was like, yeah, it was super, like, emotional for me. Because it's a big, like, Walt Disney's a huge influence in my life. So, anyway, all right. So, I was saying that you did segue really well into my last one. Now it's not. But it was.
That was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was good. It was good then. So I would tell the listener, hey, go back so you hear what we were talking about. But so my next one is this is what I have written on my little cheat sheet here, was location. I already mentioned that the bus ride from Wilderness Lodge to Magic Kingdom is a couple of minutes. Like, it's one of the quickest bus rides you're going to take anywhere on property. You literally get on, and 3-4 minutes later, you're inside Magic Kingdom. It's amazing, especially now. Well, when you get off the bus, you have to go through security there, right? Or you don't? I can't remember. No, you do. They still have security for the folks who get off the buses, but it's moved. Right, they moved it to a different spot, so it's not as crowded. It's not as hectic, and a lot of people who get on. I'm getting confused from the Disneyland trip, because now they have the ticket and transportation center, security stops, and the monorail resort security stops. So I feel like the security is really a lot better now at Magic Kingdom than it used to be, as far as your wait. But
that's spread out a lot more now.
Yeah, they've done a much better job, but that's besides the point. So the bus is really fast to get over there. You can also take the water launch, or water craft, as you said, or a boat if you're not going to be all fancy pants about it. You can take that over to Magic Kingdom or over to Fort Wilderness, where you can get over to the settlement area what is that, like a 7-8 minute boat ride? Probably not even that.
Yeah, because it's really close. I mean, you could stay on that dock and with a potato gun and have a flaming spud landed over there.
You could. So over at that settlement area, there's Crockett's Tavern, Trails End, which is the buffet restaurant, which I love, and Pioneer Hall, which is where the Hoop-to-Do review is. So it's really easy to get back and forth from there. And then you have to get buses everywhere else. But one other cool thing is you can take the boat or a bus over to Magic Kingdom, and you can just hop on the monorail to get to all the monorail loop resorts. All three, but there's been rumors of a fourth coming, but they did not mention that at D23. But you can easily get to the Contemporary, the Polynesian, or the Grand Floridian from the resort monorail over there. So I think while it's not, on that loop, it's really easy to get to those resorts, and I think the location of the place is really, really nice.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And that's one of the benefits for staying on property is it's so easy to get around all the different spots on property with the complimentary transportation. And I've stayed there before. The buses come very quickly, and they have this new thing. I don't know, it's maybe new like the last year or so. This little like a TV monitor that shows like what currently the time is and when they estimate the next bus to come. So like if you're standing there and you're waiting for the Magic Kingdom bus and it's 11 o'clock, it'll say it'll be here at 11:04. And like they have like this cool way to know like from the dispatch points how far the buses are, so when how much longer your wait is, so that if you're there with your kids or whatever and you're saying, well, gosh, we were going to go to Disney Springs. When's the bus? Oh, look up at the board. This will be here in 5 minutes. And it's very accurate from what I can tell from the times that I've used it.
I agree. I really like that addition too. What's funny about it is when it starts ticking back a minute, you don't even notice it. Like we were there in I'm trying to think, February, right? I think that was our last trip. And it would be like, Magic Kingdom, 104, and then you would look again and it'd be like 105. Oh, okay, that's fine. It'd be like 107. Like, what's going on with this bus? Like, what's going on? But no, they are really accurate. They do keep you updated on when they're coming, so it's nice. And again, if you get to the bus stop and it's you're 15 minutes from the Magic Kingdom bus coming, you could always run down and jump on the boat if you want. I mean, again, it's a longer ride out to Magic Kingdom with the boat, but I like it because you get it's nice. It's calm. It's a nice little boat ride. So it's really cool.
And have you seen the minivans?
Yes.
MINNIE. They've been on the road. They're like soft opening right now. They're not like the app's not available yet, but I've seen them driving around a lot.
I couldn't believe how quick. Yeah, I couldn't believe how quickly. Like I was out at D23 a week ago, and or a little more than a week ago now, but they announced it, and then like 3 days later, I started seeing pictures of them on property. So, which is funny is they had one on the show floor at the expo, and it didn't say what it was going to be. It just said minivan, MINNIE, and it was pink with a bow, and I just thought it was like a cute little van that they had for the show. But then here it turns out they're introducing their own version of Uber on property, so pretty cool.
Which they haven't released the pricing yet, so I'm curious to see what it does. But I'm guessing that even if it's a little bit more expensive than getting a Goober, which is what I call it, you roll the dice with Goober sometimes. You never know who you're getting to drive.
What's so funny? I just talked about that with Lauren Gaggioli on when we're talking about all the announcements they made at D23, and that was her point. She said, at least this way when you do it's going to be a little more expensive probably. What I've heard is $20 per ride anywhere on property. You can get 7 people. It's a Honda Odyssey. You can get 7, reasonably sized people in that thing.
Well, they had a Honda Odyssey out there because the only ones I've seen are Chevy Traverses.
Oh well,
and who knows? I mean, you're talking to a car nerd here, but you're right because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, those are 6 passengers, and they have car seats in them, like in the back that you can get strap in, which is another benefit over Goober. Is if you're gonna be riding someone's Toyota Tercel, which I don't even know if they make those anymore.
I don't think so. I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, give me get a little more current here, Johnny. Like a Chevette,
a Cutlass Sierra.
Delta 88. Yeah. They don't have car seats in those things, or a yellow cab. Most of those don't have car seats in them. So, but these I saw one that I saw had 2 nice car seats tucked in the back area where you could just pull them out and buckle them in real quick.
Yeah, that is cool. That of course I'd be the pain in the butt who needed 3. Well, we need 1 booster and 2 car seats with my kids still, but. Yeah, but
they keep a roll of duct tape back there. Also,
they had a Honda Odyssey on display out there, but again,
really?
that was just that could have just been a Honda display, but that looked just like the minivans that they ended up putting out.
Yeah, because they're so far in bed with Chevy. You know what? Because it's Disneyland. Disneyland is Honda, and Disney World is Chevy.
That's right, because they have the Honda Center out there where the Ducks play.
And the Speedway in Disneyland is Honda powered.
Is it really? I didn't realize.
And then the Autopia, and then I think Speedway, that's Disney World, and then Test Track is Chevy, and then a lot of the fleet vehicles are all Chevy, or most of them are Chevy. So at Disney World.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get lost. I know. Again, like my Mitch Hedberg joke that I think I made before, and this was I know a lot about cars, man. I can look at a car and look at a car's headlights and tell you exactly which way it's coming. That's how much I know about cars. I made that joke a couple times, I think, and then the other one when he says, when he says, I don't know a lot about cars, man. He goes, if you told me you got in your car and it didn't start, I would say, well, maybe there's a killer after you.
Yeah.
I love that one. Anyway,
yeah,
man.
It's true. You never know, man. Especially these days. Goodness gracious.
Could be a killer after you in the woods.
Yeah, man.
Right near the short sleeve estate on a night hike.
Yeah, well, Chateau Short Sleeve, man. We have perimeters with turrets, and I got night watchmen up there with their fully auto rifles. They're picking off the nutria that are trying to come on the property.
Before I start getting people who are in favor or not in favor of guns calling me, and let's go on to your next one.
Yeah, but no one should be in favor of nutria, man. They're invasive. So
what is that? That's the rat. It's like a rat, right?
Yeah. They're tearing out the environment down here. So people are supposed to eat nutria stew and wear nutria pelts.
Dude, we mentioned pelts way too often in this episode.
Very pelt-centric podcast. Say that fast. You need a pop filter to talk about pelts. All right. So what am I my last? Is this my last one?
Yeah, man. We gotta wrap it up.
All right. So here's what I think. This is a thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about with respect to Wilderness Lodge, and it's it's Artist Point. You brought it up earlier, and in terms of talking about Colonel Mustard and where he was drawing his sketches. So it's a signature dining resort. And, if you're someone who's on the dining plan, then you know what that means and all that kind of good stuff. You don't have to be on it. You could pay cash, credit, Diners Club. They take all that good stuff. I think it's one of the best kept secrets in terms of the premier dining locations around the property. Because, most people, they want to go to California Grill or Victorian Albert's, and those are great spots. Or, the ones in the parks like Le Cellier, things like that. I really like Artist Point, and there's a couple of reasons why. I mean, it's a very unique menu. If you were there 5 years ago, you wouldn't recognize the menu today because there for a little while, it was pretty much the same thing. And they got a new chef a couple of years ago who didn't totally change the menu, but he totally changed the menu. It's a really different feel, still kind of keeping that Pacific Northwest vibe in terms of what some of the things like. They still have, the buffalo strip loin, which is really good, by the way. But a lot of other things, like they try to get fancy pants and get like a charcuterie program there. And, I'm not really down with charcuterie. It just, all like the pâtés and stuff like that. It never sits with me too well.
Is that like Shark Week?
Yeah, Shark Week and Michael Phelps.
I think that started this week, didn't it? Last night, Shark Week.
I never understood that one, but
I don't. No, it was just a bit. It was honestly just a bad joke.
No, it's timely. It was a good time because Michael Phelps tried to race a great white shark. Come on, Discovery.
And it didn't even really race it. They just had a simulation. I expected the great white to be in the water with him. It wasn't.
Yeah, like I thought they were going to take him on a helicopter and just like have him dive off the side.
Good luck, Michael.
Yeah. All right. Hope your insurance plan's all up to paid up. Because you're probably not going to make it here, buddy. But anyway, no. So like, there's a couple things that have stayed. Like there was, like the cedar plank salmon was like one of the things that was really popular there. That's still on the menu. The mushroom bisque is still on the menu, which is, I think they might have tweaked it a little bit, but that was something that was like from day one, as I understand. Like as soon as the resort opened and Artist Point was open, that was something that was on the menu day one. It was wildly popular. It's really good, so it's cool. Here's a couple things to add to that. In terms of signature dining spots in Walt Disney World, like California Grill, it's really hard to get into California Grill. You got to be 180 days Johnny on the spot to get that, or very lucky if you're not at 180 days. It can be a little crowded up there, a little noisy, but it's nice. But Artist Point's a lot more quiet and subdued. So if you want to have like a nice evening with your significant other, That's a great place to do it because it's nice and quiet. Now, yeah, that would be like go to an 8 o'clock plus seating. If you want to bring your family there, which you totally can, and I've totally done, I brought my kids there. You go at like 5 o'clock, right when they open, and it's a little less crowded, and you'll see more kids there. And they have a very kid-friendly menu there too, with a lot of options that would go for kids who have maybe a little bit pickier palates. The other thing that I really, really dig about Artist Point is the wine program there. And they've gone and done a really good job of handpicking some Pacific Northwest wines, some vineyards up there. They're doing some really crazy stuff up there in terms of good quality wine. So it's really a really neat dining experience that's different than any other spot that is available on Walt Disney World property. And not to downgrade things like California Grill and keep picking on it, but this is something that is very unique and different. And if you're staying on property, even better, because then you can just stagger over to the elevator and go to your room after you've had a nice bottle of wine. Or if your belly's full from just a huge meal, you don't feel like walking around a whole lot. If not, and you're staying at another hotel, that's still okay. You just take a minivan, the MINNIE van. Yeah. Get over there, and that'd be worth $20 instead of 17 and getting a Goober driver who smells like he's been in the car all day without the AC on. No disrespect to Goober, shout out to Goober, but it would be worth the jaunt over there if you're not staying there just to experience it. It's a really neat dining experience over there at Artist Point.
Well, there goes my chance of having an Uber sponsorship on the show.
I don't know if you want them, man. They got some skeletons closet over there, man. There's some bad news coming out of that seat there.
No, it's a good pick, dude. I really like Whispering Canyon. I haven't been in a while, only because we've had kids, and I actually, great point on bringing the kids early. I didn't even think about that.
Because if you're bringing your kids to Artist Point at like 8 o'clock, I mean, chances are that you might be sitting next to a young couple that's going to get engaged that night.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin that.
Oh, man. No,
my kids dropping crayons on the floor every 3 seconds. They're picking it up for them.
Yeah, throwing a ball.
I don't need that stress in my life. But the last time we went there. It was cool. We were staying at the resort, and here's the reason why you should you should volunteer to do those surveys. Because when you're leaving the parks or entering the parks, sometimes you get free stuff because you participate in the survey. They knew we had little kids. They knew we were staying at the resort. I got an email and said, thank you for in the past filling out blah, blah, blah survey, whatever it was. They were opening their kids club, which is now closed. So sorry.
Well, for renovation, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's not closed for good, right?
I'm not, again, that's something that I'm not totally positive on, but it has been closed.
Really? Oh, I thought it was just being, oh, wow. Breaking news, everybody.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's closed. But I don't know for a fact, but it was open at the time. And actually it was in testing phases. So they said, we'll give it to you for free. You can bring your kids in for free. And then there was like they took your phone number down and they would text you or call you if there was an issue, but you had a lot of time where you could drop your kids off and then come back and get them. And they were doing activities and they brought a character. I think it was Chip and Dale or something they brought in. There was TV and, the cast members keep them pretty busy in those types of things. So Amy and I got to go to Artist Point and have dinner, and it was awesome. And that was my first time there in a while. Of course, about a half hour in, we got a text that one of our kids needed to be picked up. So we got our food to go. But we did get an appetizer. It was not the Sharknado appetizer, but it was good. It was one of the few times I've actually gotten wine out because I never do. But our server recommended a bottle of wine, and we were like, yeah, why not? We're like fancy. I got a button-down shirt on.
Only 3 stains.
There's no Mickey Mouse on my shirt tonight. I got some brown shoes on that aren't sneakers. I'm gonna get that bottle of wine. So yeah, it's a good call. It's a good place. They have, again, great restaurants at Wilderness Lodge, which, by the way, segues perfectly. See this? We did not plan these out at all. This is just the way it rolled today. It segues perfectly into my next one. And I don't know if it's my favorite because I didn't really put these in order, but definitely one of my favorite reasons to stay at Wilderness Lodge is dinner at Whispering Canyon Cafe. And I say dinner because I've been there for breakfast and I've been there for lunch, and it's a little subdued. I don't know if you've been there for either of those meals, but it's it's quieter.
I haven't done lunch. I've done breakfast, and you're right. Breakfast is there very mellow.
Yeah, like so if you haven't been to Whispering Canyon, the name is pretty much a misnomer. It's not. There's no whispers going on in Whispering Canyon. It's loud. Your servers are loud. The kids are loud. It's basically the servers are almost characters. They come up to your table. They'll throw your straws down. They're like, "What do you want?" They make a big deal if you order something that's like they'll pretend it's a problem. Amy, my wife, always has modifications. They love her when she comes in because they really mess around with her because she always has modifications, or she'll order. This is her famous move. Whenever we go to dinner, she'll order a beer and a Diet Coke because she can't drink a beer and eat food. Like she's a strange little person, my wife. So,
like two separate glasses?
Yeah, like she'll have them both on either side of her plate. And when the food's not there, she'll drink her beer. But as soon as an appetizer or her meal or the cornbread, which is awesome, by the way, from Whispering Canyon, is in front of her, she goes to the soda. Which usually means she has 2 warm drinks in 10 minutes. But then she won't finish. This is my rant. I'm sorry. She won't finish her beer. That's like, we paid top dollar for it, Walt Disney World. She'll get another one, and it drives me crazy. And I'm not a cheap person, but I just think it's a waste. Anyway, she never listens to the show, so it's not a big deal.
This will be the one time.
I know she's gonna be, choke me in my sleep this week. But
she's gonna pour a warm beer down your.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about me?
She's gonna skunk all your beers, put them in the oven for a couple hours, and then put them back in the fridge.
It is. No, what is it? Oh, you're right. It's the not the temperature that skunks beer, right? It's the light. Did you ever hear that?
So that's why like all the glass bottles are tinted.
Yep. There's very, very few clear bottles of beer anymore.
Oh, like Corona is the only one, but
and Bud Light Lime is clear because that's what Amy. It's the only beer Amy drinks.
Really?
Yeah, she drinks it all year long. All year long. It's supposed to be a summer beer, and she drinks it. If it's 12 degrees outside and we're having people over on a Friday night, that's her beer of choice.
If you see me on, I love your wife. She's awesome. But you ever see me with a Bud Light Lime in hand? That's like my signal. I'm tipping my hat. I'm being kidnapped. Like there's somebody like pointing a taser right to my butt cheeks. Like, help me.
I have been known, and I'm a big craft beer fan. I usually buy my beer in like 4-packs or 3-packs or the big bottles. I have been known to enjoy a cold Bud Light Lime while I'm cooking on a grill or something in the summer. Like I'll 1 or 2 because it's like refreshing. But that's pretty much all I'd have. Anyway.
Oh, like if when you're out mowing the lawn, you get like an ice. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. Oh man, you're missing out on life, man. When you're out mowing the lawn on a nice summer day and you pause to, empty the bag, refill the gas can, you crack a cold can of beer, like a Yingling. Oh man, nothing better. That's living right there.
You don't want to crack like a Lafinde Mind. It's a little strong.
Oh yeah, you might pass out.
You won't be finishing that lawnmower job that day. That's for sure.
Yeah, you'll have like all kinds of wavy lines, missing spots.
It's not you won't have the baseball field look at your lawn that at the end of that day. But anyway, so I got to get back to my food here because I'm way off topic. By the way, I had somebody in one of my one of my iTunes reviews for the show. I forget her name. She wrote, "I love how the host goes completely off topic and then has to figure out how to rein it back in." And I love that. It's so
Is that
cool.
a compliment or an insult?
You know what? I take it as a compliment because we kind of talk, especially when it's you and I. We just kind of talk about what's on our mind, and we normally it ends up back to where it's supposed to be, but it's just fun.
Yeah, I mean that's why. I looked around on Yelp, man. It's #1 podcast on Yelp.
Yelp with my one review. That's a questionable character that left that review too.
It's a good one, though. It's a good one.
It is a really good one. All right, so yeah, if you haven't seen go to Ear to There Travel on Yelp and look at my review. It's hilarious. You should pause it actually right now and do that. It's worth it. I'm
gonna do it and read it myself.
Anyway, so okay, Whispering Canyon Cafe. Food is fantastic. I recommend the skillet. They start with it says mixed green salad, I think, with apple vinaigrette dressing. There's, like I said, you get the cornbread. There's ribs, pulled pork. There's a chicken, something or other on there. There's it's everything you can think of. There's beef, there's sausage, and then believe it or not, they put vegetables. They have the guts to put vegetables on that plate when there's like 6 different kinds of meat. But there's also mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, and baked beans. You get all that in a huge skillet, and it's all you care to eat. I think it's up to 4 people, I think, can share that. And it's all you care to eat, so they'll just keep bringing it to you. You just, after you finish, say you finish all the ribs, and your server will come up and just say, I just need more ribs, and they'll bring in more ribs. I mean, I would say please, too, but that's, it's awesome. Other food is really good there. I've had the meatloaf there. It's really good. I've actually had the New York strip there for lunch, which was a mistake because it was excellent. But I was walking around like my stomach was killing me in the Florida heat after that. But then the cool thing, right, about the dessert is, I've mentioned this before in the show, they have bottomless milkshakes, which is awesome. We were there, Amy and I and the kids were there with Chuck Rodriguez, who's on the show a lot. And I told the story before, but I'll tell it again really quickly. Our server said he had never seen anyone drink more than 3. And they're not little milkshakes, man. These are big. They're real big, like fresh. They make them to order milkshakes. And he got to 3 and he finished it. And we were like, oh my God, he's going to go for 4. And
he's going to blow.
And this was after dinner. Like, this was his dessert. And he couldn't do it, man. He couldn't go for 4. So he didn't break the record. And really, thank God. I didn't even see that.
You thank God he exercised that restraint. Like, you think if they bring out the 4th one, they also bring like a big Rubbermaid trash can?
They bring the bucket, yeah. It's a horse, I imagine because it's everything's themed there, so it would be, like the watering pail that they used to have to get the horses to drink water out of. Something like that.
And to keep with the theme of like that brashness of the servers, they probably make him clean it up.
Yeah, they probably do. So yeah, like you said, the servers, man, they're great. They're so much fun. Like little things that they do. Like if you ask for a refill of a water or a soda, sometimes they'll bring you a pitcher of it, just because they say they don't feel like keep refilling your glass, so they'll bring you out this huge pitcher of water with a straw in it. Just little stuff like that. It's really, really funny. They do horse races with the food tray stands where it sounds like there's a horse galloping across the restaurant. The kids love it. Like my kids absolutely think it's hilarious. And I get worried that they're going to get embarrassed or they're going to get nervous, but they don't. The cast members are really, really good there. Like I said, especially at dinner, lunch and breakfast is pretty subdued. They don't go crazy. But dinner they always do. And there's a big thing about ketchup. So make sure when you're there, ask for ketchup. That's one of the really fun things to do at that restaurant. So yeah, I love that place, man. Whenever we stay there, for sure we'll book or we'll get a dining reservation there. But often when we're not staying there, we'll go over and have dinner there. And now it'll be even easier for us with the minivans, like you said. So.
And not to poo-poo breakfast, but because the food's good there at breakfast. It's just the experience isn't the same experience as you get at dinner time. And the food, like you said, is amazing at dinner time. That's a spot that we go to every year to celebrate the fact that we moved to Florida. Because, quick story, the day we moved, like landed here in Florida, I said, you know what, we should go celebrate by going somewhere to dinner at Disney. And I called up because this was, well, they saw the app at the time, but I don't know why I called. I said, what do you have open tonight? And they searched around. And that was the first one they said. How about Whispering Canyon? I was like, I love that place. Let's do it. And we had such a great meal. It was like a nice way to celebrate moving to Florida. And I thought this should be our like annual thing every year. So every year we do that to celebrate moving to Florida. I love Whispering Canyon so much.
Cool, man. That's a very nice sentimental story idea. I like that.
I know it's shocking, right? Normally everything else is kind of haggard. It comes out of me.
I was waiting for the language to do the dump, hit the dump button.
Yeah, we need that.
I was waiting for you there. I was like, all right, this is gonna have to be edited out.
Yeah, we need like that 7-second delay.
Yeah, we don't have that here. I'm in a little tiny office with no air conditioning because it used to be a part of my garage. I don't have the 7-second delay.
Oh yeah, summertime in the garage.
Yeah, right. So it actually is pretty nice. It's only when I'm sitting here for more than like an hour or two that I have to crack the door, gets macy in here.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, this is a lot of fun. I think I really think this one will go over well, and I think we told enough. We told enough stories and we made enough cracks and jokes, but I think somewhere in the middle of all that, we made a pretty compelling case for the resort. I mean, at least I think so.
And I, and not to sound like a broken record, I know there's so many things that we didn't mention.
Yeah.
That I had a really long list of things that I would love to just keep talking about this property, because it really is someplace that I do truly love going here, and not only staying there, but just to visit. I mean, just to walk around and just be in that environment is such an amazing place. So I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, man, I think you're exactly right. Now that we're talking about it, I only had 5 on my list, and I've since we've been going through ours, I've come up with a bunch of other ones, and well, this might be one we have to do a part 2 of, because they're like, I haven't even been to the expansion yet, so I need to check out the cabins and get dinner over at what's it, Geyser
Point.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Geyser Point.
We didn't even go into that, so yeah, we got a lot. There's more to talk about. So
and they've got good breakfast over at Geyser Point too.
I've seen the menu, yeah, and I think you've sent me some pictures of your meals over there. It's that's not weird. We do.
Well, actually, no. Actually, it is weird because those weren't my meals. Those are other meals. Say, hey, excuse me for a second. Don't bite into that. Just wait. Let me
take a picture. I gotta stage it. Give me that bacon.
Yeah. Can you move a little bit? Like you're in the shot. Come on, man.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, thanks again for doing this. Now listen, we got into a little trouble with this last time because I asked you, because you so nicely plug charities or nice causes at the end of these shows. Uh-huh. And I asked you to last time, and do you remember what you plugged?
Man, I don't know. It's been like a couple months since you had me on here. I was just sitting around waiting for the call. When's he going to call me? When are we going to do another one, man? Come on. What's Phil up to? I don't know. It's been a while, man. My memory's so good.
Was that a pun? Phil up? No, it wasn't a pun. Probably just was asking what I was up to. So you plugged was it the Moped Association of America?
Oh, the National Moped Association. Good people. Yeah, a friend of mine's a CFO over there. I mean, chief financial officer. I mean, literally, it's saving lives and making a difference.
So
great people.
So I did not know what to do or say, even though it was not live. Like it wasn't a Facebook Live. We were just recording, and instead of going back and re-recording it, I left it as it was because my reaction was I was just completely dumbfounded, and I didn't know what to say. And I was like, "Is he serious? Is this a real thing?" And as soon as we said goodbye, you laughed so hard at how dumb I was in buying that. I don't know if I bought it or not. I was just completely confused. So.
It was something came through on my phone, made me laugh.
Do you want to give them another plug, or do you have anything else to kind of close with?
Well, they got their jamboree that's coming on up here in August, August 15th, and really cool event. They do a barbecue. They have a bouncy house. Great people, salt to the earth. They even have a helmet rolling contest to see who can roll their helmet the farthest down the road. Tire pressure, that's their theme for the month of July. They're making sure that everybody knows, hey, in the months of June, July, and August, tire pressure is important on the mopeds. That's how you're going to, when you're hugging the curve, and you're leaning, if you don't have adequate tire pressure, man, you're going to dump that sucker.
I'm crying. All right.
They're doing a fundraiser at in the holidays this year. So there's part of what's coming. This is breaking news. This is a spot for breaking news. They're doing the fundraiser for the holidays. You know how most people do like a food drive? They're doing a leather jacket drive because you know how many guys are riding mopeds in here in Orlando. It's hot here, man. It gets humid. They're riding around in the wife beaters. Man, you get the road rash. What do you do, man? You got skin grafts off the backs of your legs and your butt cheeks. That's all you got. That's so you gotta wear the leather jacket.
You gotta support the guys in the mopeds. That's what what it all boils down to.
Moped Dad, check it out.
Thanks again, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Right on.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you once again to my guest and friend, Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve. Like I always say, it's a blast when he comes on the show. And we're both such huge, big fans of Wilderness Lodge. I'm sure you could tell from the episode. And also, if you drive a moped, I hope we're not being offensive. We're obviously just playing around. It's a fun thing. I wanted to see if he would keep it up this week, and he did. So thank you to Johnny Shortsleeve again, and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I know there are other things. There's lots of other shows. There's other things you can be doing with your time, but you're here, you're listening to me now, and you are awesome. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you and the fact that you're listening to this show still right now. I also hope we gave you something to think about when you're going to book your next Disney trip. If you haven't thought about staying at Wilderness Lodge before, hopefully you will now. It's just a phenomenal resort for all the reasons that we mentioned. And if you are looking to book a trip, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. As I said at the start of the show, my services are always 100% free of charge. I absolutely love my job. I love doing this. I love planning people's trips, and I would be thrilled to help you and help your family have a truly magical trip to Walt Disney World. Okay, so just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week, each and every Wednesday morning. So thank you again for listening, and until next time, have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.